Did you just count? So we're live now?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm ready. Are you ready? Welcome to the Wake Up Show. And by the looks of it, my friend, you are awake. Now, due to the fact that my wonderful wife, who is very pregnant right now, has started messing about finding baby clothes in these boxes behind here, I had to actually remove the Golden Gate Bridge. You know how big the Golden Gate Bridge is? It takes a year to paint the bridge, because I saw a documentary once, and when they finished painting it, they have to go just start over again. So that's his job. It's like, you finish painting now, Ken? Well, then start over. Well, I moved the bridge for you guys. No, I moved the bridge for my wife. But then again, who wouldn't want to move a bridge for their wife expecting a baby any minute now? No, it's in a month. Relax. Relax. That was mostly talking to myself. This is the eighth episode of the Wake Up Show Season 3. We're really getting into it now. And Markus, you've been here for over a month now.
Yeah, 5th or 6th episode right now.
Yeah. Having an assistant, I highly recommend that. Everyone should have an assistant. But don't take my assistant, because he's the greatest guy. I don't want to lose my assistant, because such an awesome dude. Well, now I'm just a happy guy, so I guess then there is nothing to lament, and we should just like run the intro.
Live from the dream, aka Drummond, it's the Wake Up Show with your host, Wolf Thunder Flitty.
Oh, hello there, and welcome to the Wake Up Show. Yeah, we got a really great episode for you guys tonight, and how can I even know that? It hasn't happened yet, because we're live from the dream in the basement. And you know, to help make my dream become a reality, which it already is, by the way, but to make it more sustainable, and also to make my wife less upset by the sheer fact that I choose to do this. I love to do this. There's a thing called patreon.com/thewakeupshow. Now, a couple of you fine viewers have been complaining that this note is too small, and I'm gonna try now and make it bigger. Now, bah! That wasn't so hard, was it? Patreon.com/thewakeupshow. This is much easier than holding up the note. Why 28 episodes in, and now we start putting the graphics on via the computer that everything is run through anyways. This is absurd. Well, yeah, as I said, we have a great show because I have the puppet master himself. It sounds, are you like, do you have like a mob, or it sounds like like the boss of some creepy organization running from the sort of in the shadows? It's not that, it's just a great artist here from the dream, or meow down. Well, enough chit chatter about this great guy. Let's bring him into the studio now. I can see if I can manage to get some applause running. Forgot to find the app for the. There it is. Without further ado, Jon, come into the studio, man. Oh. I would hug you, but it's still a plague and it's mutated and everything, so we'll keep it strictly.
Yeah, that's 2021 living.
Yeah. We got so used to it in 2020 that now we're just like, yeah, this is very normal.
You know what I see now? That, you know, so now every once in a while you can meet people who are actually been vaccinated. And they still don't handshake or hug because just it feels awkward. I think now.
Yeah, we were used to not hugging.
Yeah,
not
will we ever get back? I wonder.
Is the hug gone? I like hugging, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a hugger.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think because the printer is broken, that's the reason why I don't have pieces of paper with the names of people. which then forced me to make a picture file to put it into the computer. Would you throw up the picture file with our guests? So you're Jon Mihle, the puppet master.
The puppet master, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Why not? And I am Wolfgang the Flitty. We've got no strings to hold him down.
Yeah, that's perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
If we can link everything in this show this good together, it's gonna be hilarious. You know, it's gonna be fabulous.
Yeah, I've linked I've prepared. Look, I have prepared the notes. It's got letters on it. This will go super smoothly.
Yeah.
Now, the reason you are the puppet master is because our friend Christoph Rainsvold Arnesen, one of my favorite guests on the show, of course, because he is the dreamer of all dreamers.
Absolutely.
He is a fellow friend of ours, and he said you have to have this guy on the show because he's a great guy. And I'm like, I love people and great people. They're much funner to talk with than angry people, for instance. But if you want to be angry, you can be angry as well if you like.
No, I'm a friendly guy. I'm flattered. It's really nice. And Christopher is a tremendous guy. So
yes.
I've been fortunate enough to take part of in some of his dreams. You know.
Yes, and he likes to dream big.
He likes to dream big.
Not as big as I, you know. My dreams are sort of like global phenomena.
Well, you got no strings to hold you down.
And you don't have the strings, you know, no strings attached. But what does a puppet master do exactly?
Oh, well,
or do what
I
do
think
you,
puppet master maybe could be.
Who are you?
More things. Well, I think if we stick to the puppets for a little while.
Let's stick
because
to the puppets.
I do a lot of different stuff, but I've been making puppets for almost 30 years.
30 years of puppetry.
Yeah. So, and for many years it was my main occupation. I made puppets of different sorts, and did television and performances and plays, and did lots of touring. I've been touring very hard for many years, and I think I have something like 12 or 1300 shows on the road.
My God!
So I tried.
You've been around.
I've been around. Yeah. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of very skilled people, and been able to travel the world and play puppets and puppets, puppet theater and puppets. It's fantastic.
It's play. It's it's not very serious. It's playfulness, or how would you?
Not necessarily.
I am curious though. Why puppets?
Well, I had a mentor.
Mentors are very
when
good.
I started, and he was the guy who made a famous puppet show called Pumpel and Pilt.
Oh, the scary one.
Yeah, at least in Norway, it's by far the most popular. And this is have this kind
is
of
that like the 70s or 60s?
End of the 60s.
Yes, late 60s, black and white.
Yeah.
Obviously before my age.
Kind of film noir puppet theater.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But he said something that I really think is very accurate. He said that puppet theater is the absolute theater, because even the actors are an act in a way, you know.
Oh yeah.
So there's not even real people, you know. So everything is imagination. I saw you had a cartoon guy here, no?
Yeah. Iceland Runde. He does
and it's
cartoons.
a little bit about the same, you know, that when you work with puppet theater, anything is possible.
Yes, because you can
you
create
can rip
anything.
your own head off, you know, and throw it in the wall and put it back. And these are very hard in normal.
Yes, because
film.
once you take the head off, it seems like the body stops functioning and you're dead.
A lot of work anyway.
Yes.
So
yes.
with puppets, these things are very easy, and you can change scale, and you can, with a very low budget, you can do amazing stuff as long as you kind of get the audience to take part in your vision. You know, if they accept the terms, that you set up when you make a puppet show, then you can basically do anything. You can fly to the other end of the world in a split second, you know, and this is very amazing. You know, this possibility that lies in the puppet theater. So for a young artist, which I was when I started,
young,
with this,
aspiring puppeteer.
Yeah, young and promising. Not that anymore. Not even young.
I think you're promising, through your entire lifetime, you're promising for something.
Absolutely, I agree.
Obviously
I agree
that might
with that.
shift and
I agree
change.
with that. But my point is that was a good universe to work. You know,
Yeah.
with all the possibilities. So it was a nice place to be.
It sounds quite like limitless because,
Yeah.
as you said, like anything is possible, and it can be as absurd or as sort of deconstructed as you want it to
Yep.
be, because anything
Yep.
is possible. I like that.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
And you can make 10 puppets, you know, to have in your play, and you don't have to pay salary. You can go on tour. You don't need a big bus. You know, a lot of stuff. But of course, if you put that a little bit to the side, of course, one of the things that drove me into this was, you know, there's some really great puppet artists in the world, and I was very fascinated what they did, and so when I discovered that, there was no doubt I want to do this, you know. And we made a lot of puppet theater. Most of my productions are actually for grown-ups, so it's not for kids. And I don't know about the rest of the world, but at least in Norway, when you say you work with puppet theater, people think you make
Children's birthday parties.
happy stories for kids.
Yeah.
Basically. But we made disturbing performances for adults, which is a kind of a different approach, and which is no box office success, I can promise you. But still, it was fascinating, and that also, after doing that for a few years, we were able to tour the world, and I don't think we could do that with
the children's puppet approach.
Not the same.
But you know, I've often it's sort of when you look at adults, they're just big children, right?
Yep.
But once you deprive them of their childlike treats, so enjoying the absurd, or just sort of playing, or running around in the forest screaming, but going to work instead and doing important stuff, you tend to forget that what is fun for kids is also fun for grown-ups. And what's even more fun for grown-ups is you can joke with even more things, because you can joke about all the stuff that grown-ups think are important.
You know, I made also a lot of children's shows. And what we saw was that, first of all, the adults enjoyed it just as much as the kids.
Right.
And we also experimented, because we played the children's show for only adults.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was no big difference. So if you treat an adult as a child, with, of course, a lot of humor and all that you need to break that shell, they start acting like kids.
I like that.
Yeah.
There is one thing about puppets, is that they can sometimes be, you know, very cool or cute, but they can also sometimes be very creepy. And you know, when I wonder about something like, how does this really work? What I typically do is that I go out into the dream, which is the town which we live in, and I ask my fellow dreamers what they think about this.
Oh, hello. Well, you see, having a bit of an issue with talking to people on the street today, because it turns out that the dream is in some sort of winter storm, and I honestly can't find any people, and the few people I found were not willing to actually stop because it's snowing like crazy. But I was going to ask about puppets. Are they creepy or are they cool? And I guess I'll just answer that myself. And I think they're really, I think puppets are really cool. But I also have to say, like, for instance, that Chucky from those movies back, is that the 80s or 90s? He was sort of creepy actually. And Annabelle, but she's just a doll. That's not a puppet. Well, so yeah, back to you guys. Sorry.
Huh. Well, it's quite a blizzard in the dream today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was snowing like crazy over there.
Yeah. Transport was hard today.
But so puppets,
Cool or creepy?
cool or creepy? Well, I guess they can be both. But well, is it? You've been working with puppets.
Yeah. And we got
What
a
would
lot
you-
of different techniques, you know.
Yeah.
And like for instance, if you make a puppet small, it gets cuter.
Yeah,
So the
just
bigger
like
it gets,
just like with
the
pets.
less cute.
Ah, yes.
So if you have a 2 meter high puppet, very hard to make it cute. So there's lots of techniques, and this all comes back to our natural human response. Like when we see a kid, we think, oh, he's cute.
Yes.
And so you make something small, like a kid, it's cute. If you make the nose smaller and the eyes bigger, it's cute.
The bigger the eyes and the smaller
Because
the
that's-
nose, the cuter the...
Yeah, because the kids have smaller noses and bigger eyes.
Yeah.
So we use all those techniques, so it's kind of science behind it. But I have to say, it's much easier to make it creepy. Creepy is easy. And fun. It's very fun.
That's true.
And to make it funny, or so that you actually, or make something serious that you're supposed to like get into their emotions, you know. That's harder. Creepy is easy. You put on some blue light, a little blood, some scars. Boom, creepy.
Creepy.
Boom, very easy. Yeah.
It is fascinating though. The puppet is just something you either put on your hand or you control with strings or whatever.
Yeah.
But for some strange reason, it becomes real.
Yeah, it's the animation. You know?
Yeah.
And that's also science in a way, or we work a lot with it also in a more philosophical point of view, you know, that to animate means to give life, you know?
Yes.
and to give soul, we say in the puppet theater, we give something a soul. And you know, as a puppet professional, which we worked on a lot on the avant-garde scenes, you know, we try to animate just about anything, you know. And like, can you make a table or a chair or a lamp have life? You know?
Yeah.
Try to animate objects, different work only with materials. I made a whole performance with only plastic, and we made one with paper. So you take us as a challenge. What can we actually animate and get people to accept it and believe it, and start, you know, living with what's going on stage.
Wow. Is there something you cannot animate?
I don't know. But I have to say that, you know, if you take it too far in the other direction, like if you make a really advanced puppet, which with you know, with all the joints and looks really human and have, you know, all the joints in the fingers, and you can manipulate it, and you can have 50 strings, and a
Yes, it looks
brilliant
really weird.
puppeteer who's been working with this puppet for a year, doesn't necessarily get any better.
No.
And what we discovered was that when you put a really advanced puppet on the stage, people start looking for stuff that doesn't work. They were like, I saw that. I could notice it wasn't real. Yeah. You know, so they kind of shifted focus. So the audience was more started to look for there I could see it was a puppet, you know, because it was so perfect. So then they started looking for mistakes or holes in the illusion, you know.
Yeah,
but
that is interesting.
But you can take a puppet which is it's like a half a puppet, like just the top body, and you can put it on stage, and people, boom, immediately accept that it doesn't have a leg. They just immediately just accept it, and this is very fascinating. And
what's up with us humans? We are strange animals.
Yeah, and we love to fill in the holes, the gaps. Yeah. You know, if you take a dotted line, you draw a square with dotted lines. It's actually just dots. It's not a square, but everyone perceives it as being a square.
Because the dots are there.
We fill in the gaps, and this is in our human nature to fill in the gaps or to see a pattern where there maybe not even is a pattern.
Could we call this imagination? Like,
yes,
the human's ability to imagine.
Yeah.
Is what makes us able to see an inanimate object come to life just by either putting eyes on it or moving it just a bit. But we sort of project onto, even like film and television are not real, but we still perceive it as real because we just sort of we sort of put ourselves into that situation. And we sort of live through that experience.
Humans are really good at this.
We're great at it.
Yeah.
Even you know, if you come into a room and someone is telling a story, you know, just talking about something, you're becoming that story.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
You know,
it's cool.
In these days, you know, we have a lot of conspiracy theories.
Yes,
and that's basically
really
just the same. That's seeing patterns and wanting to see patterns and wanting to see connections where they maybe not are a connection. But we desperately want things to make sense and fit together and be solid.
I saw,
and so when things are loose, we can use that's the strings to hold it together. It doesn't need to be very strong.
We need strings.
Yep.
It needs to be connected.
Yep.
I saw this cool interview once with this kid talking about the difference between kids and adults. And it was something I really liked about it, because he said, like, kids use their imagination, you know, and they can imagine anything. But then adults, they seem to have lost their ability to imagine things, but they seem to worry a lot. And I was like, God damn it. So we use our imagination. That what a typical adult does is use our imaginative powers to look for worst possible outcomes. So we use them to worry. And I guess it also makes sense when you talk about the conspiracy theories. Is so if you look at something and you can't really see how these things are connected, you start making connections. But because your sort of mode of being is worrying, you'll typically connect it into a way that seems less beneficial for you or the entire mankind, for that matter. I don't know.
I see that a lot. I see it very, very much. People are very creative in their worries.
Right?
Yeah, and they spend a lot of time and a lot of energy in worrying about things that they think might happen or possibly could happen. And it's very fascinating. And I'm very aware of that, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my time worrying. I want to spend my time doing other things, or use my brain to do other things.
If you're worrying, you're not here, right?
You know, sometimes when someone in my staff or someone is worrying too much, then usually I say, yes, and remember, there could crash a plane in his house in 10 minutes.
Any second.
In 10 minutes, yeah. Remember that.
Well, we're in the basement, so we should be safe, right?
Well, depends on the plane.
It's a big old plane.
Yeah. So, and I say that just to make them aware of that they are actually thinking, because there's been done research about this, and it turns out that most people worry a lot about stuff that, of course, never happens.
I think
never happens.
Someone said that 90% of the things you worry about never happen.
Never happens.
And the things that you didn't think about at all happen.
Yep.
And by
Sometimes
worrying,
it's good things as well.
yeah, good things. But the strange thing is that if you use all your energy on worrying, that takes your focus, right? So you won't be able to actually see the things happening. So for instance, if you sit inside your house worrying about taxes up to the level where you can't even see the plane flying towards your house, worrying effectively made you less aware of the fact that.
And also I read this research, and what was fascinated me was that people spend a lot of time worrying about things that they can't change.
Yes, that are completely out of your control.
Completely out of your control.
Yeah.
And then worrying about it is really no use, because you can't control it anyway. So
I guess that's very poignant in this day and age, because it's very easy to worry about this plague.
Yeah.
Has it mutated? What's going on?
Yeah.
Are the government looking out for our best interest, or are they just lining their pockets with, I don't know, big pharma's money? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you start worrying about that, it's very little you can actually do about things like this, other than making the best out of the situation which you are in. Like what can you change?
That's the
and what is
difference.
out of your control.
Yeah. And I have to say, I think one of the things about this plague that made me very sad is that a lot of people I know and a lot of people I've been working with and stuff, they are changing because of this. And they're changing in a way that confuses me or baffles me, I would say, because suddenly they are they're losing trust in the society, and they are tending towards conspiracy theories, and they're losing faith in their fellow man in a way, and they're kind of digging a hole and walking into these echo chambers on the internet and just confirming their own worst ideas, and gets more and more far out. And I think it's really sad. And one of the beautiful things about the Norwegian society is that we are a very trust-based society. We are one of the
most trusting societies in the world, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most beautiful thing about this country.
I guess that's sort of seeing that sort of shifting now, because that is somehow what this indicates, right? It's this general trust. You know, I like to think of myself as a transatlantic person, because it feels at times like I was born in the wrong country, that America was my because I feel at home there and stuff like that. But you know, the trust levels in the US, very low.
Different, yeah.
It breaks my heart, because people don't really trust each other at the same level as I'm typically used to in this reality over here in nowhere. And it's also interesting how, as you say, this trust is, there's a shift, there is a change.
But it's under pressure.
It's pressure, yeah, it is. And I guess it's, you know, it's the not knowing, and it's the worrying. And it's the what I like to call it's very much fear-based, right? So the moment you let sort of fear control your sort of your guidance systems, it becomes very much, it becomes a lot harder to maneuver in reality, because everything is scary. And this obviously affects everyone. Our entire society is sort of affected by this, and it will give all sorts of weird like results, both on the political level or on the personal level, or just the sheer fact that we stopped hugging each other and we stopped visiting each other. Like, I mean, like, the greatest thing about having this show is that I have the perfect excuse to invite
actually talk to people,
that I don't know very well, and I get to talk to them, and we get to sort of have socialize.
But I have to say, of course, also on the other hand, I think also in this kind of crisis, I don't think it's that big of a crisis. I have to say, I really have to say, you know,
For how
the
long
world is not collapsing. We're gonna get through it.
We are.
Relax, it's gonna be okay. I got that attitude, and I'm a hardcore optimist. But I have to say that in this crisis, let's call it that, we also, you can see some really good things pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It brings up some good stuff also in people, and I like to see that, you know, I see it every day in like everyday life. I feel that, like when I go to the grocery shop, I feel that people are more tentative, more
We are a bit nicer towards each other, yeah?
and gentler
More
in a way,
considerate.
and there's another kind of a softness to it.
You know, it's been over a
Something
year since I've been standing in
And
line at the
everyday
supermarket.
people are showing them at their best in
Yes.
a way, and
You know, in
I
line
see
at the
that every day,
supermarket.
and I like that.
For a year ago, you know, people are a bit like sneaking past and being a bit like aggressive in the line at the supermarket. Doesn't happen anymore.
No.
People are very like calm and collected and like, yeah. So
guess
there is
maybe
there's
this
good
is-
and bad things with plagues.
Yeah, there's good and bad things with plagues. And you know, after the Spanish disease,
The Spanish flu.
yeah, in just after the First World War. After they got that, we got the Roaring Twenties. You know, this was kind of a response that people's been through so much shit, basically. You know, the First World War, and the Spanish flu, and everybody was thinking, is the world ending now? You know, and when that was gone, people really got like really excited, and you had this the 20s, you know, the Roaring 20s. It was a time with huge optimism, magnificent cars, dresses, music, drinking.
People were really
partying.
thinking big and letting their imagination run the show, not their
absolutely.
worrying running the show.
And lots of big changes in the mindset, you know, and hopefully we'll get something like that, like we get a new Roaring 20s, you know. We can hope.
Isn't it even the 20s? We are in the 20s.
Yeah, and let's hope it gets roaring.
Roaring.
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty nice. I was going to say something really smart. It slipped my mind.
You forgot it.
And it doesn't really matter because I love movies.
Yeah.
That's a thing that I do, and I think we have like an intro for actually that thing.
What's the name of the segment?
Ulf loves a movie.
Ulf loves movies. Ulf loves movies.
I love movies.
Ulf loves movies.
Yeah, I love movies. Do you love movies?
Yes.
That's great. And you know, because my guest today was the puppet master, that it still sounds very conspiracy-like the guy behind it.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I kind of like it too, in a good way. The good dictator.
Yeah, the good puppet master.
Yes. Now, when it comes to puppets, obviously, we growing up in communist television Norway watched the Muppets. Yeah, you watched the Muppet. I watched the Muppets.
The Muppet Show, yeah.
The Muppet Show. Love the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Jim Henson, is that his
Jim
name?
Henson,
Yeah. And there was a movie. There were numerous films with these Muppets.
Yep.
And there was this one I saw with my kids. It's a fairly new one. It was like from 2011. I think it's just called The Muppets.
Yeah.
But it has this. There are these brothers, but one's a Muppet and the other one is not, and they sort of try to figure out their place in life, and it was. I think when you talked about earlier giving the puppet a soul, there is something really nice to that. Like the fact that to make something alive, you have to actually give it, like, give it these sort of traits that actually makes it into something, flaws, character. And now from this film, I found a clip.
Yeah.
And I thought we can watch the clip from the film because it's a TV show. People watch clips. So I run a clip from the film. Walter, Walter, Gary, what? You came back, Walter. What are you doing down here? They just need one more act. You gotta get out there and help those guys. I can't. What if people laugh at me? I'd rather go back home to small town with you. Look, Walter, you're my brother, and I'm always gonna love you. But you belong here with these guys. Hey, you're the one who got Kermit to do this. You're the one who brought everyone here together. You always believe in other people, but that's easy. Sooner or later, you gotta believe in yourself too. Because that's what growing up is. It's becoming who you want to be. You have to try. Please, Walter. You're my hero. Yeah, so that was Jason Segel, I believe, plays Gary, and his twin brother Walter is a Muppet.
Yeah.
And now Walter loves the Muppets.
Yeah.
It's the greatest thing. And then turns out that he has to save the Muppets from extinction.
Right.
But does he have what it takes? And I really like that scene, you know, because it's so easily for both Muppets and humans to forget that you have some potential in you if you actually dare to sort of acknowledge and see that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Very American.
It
This
is maybe.
emotions, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, I visited Jim Henson production.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And I took some. I learned a little bit from them about animatronics, you know, technique.
Yeah.
And you know, there are different approaches, you know. I was touring in the States, traveled over there to play puppet theater for adults, and there were distinct differences because when we as Norwegians are part of kind of a European Nordic trend of stage work, you know. We're cool, almost cold, you know.
Yeah, cool and cold are two sides of the same thing.
And clean and intellectual and visual based art. But when you come to the States and see how they do it, it's so emotional. You know, it's so emotional driven. And when you see they make their shows, it's almost always about getting emotions going. You know,
Oh, yes.
getting the feelings going. Anger, fear, love, crying, very emotional, pathos.
Yes.
That was, and it really surprised me. That was so distinct, different, and that made me worry. Made me wonder, what's this about the Americans and these emotions?
It's like a cultural difference there, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's getting more and more clear. And when I saw that clip,
Yeah.
I was thinking, this is purely like an American scene in a way, You
Yes,
have to believe in yourself.
You
have
would
to
not typically see this in a French, German, or at least maybe it's shifted a bit in Norwegian films, I feel, because they've sort of leaned into to more like this approach to getting sort of like an emotional hook with the story. Now, I have to admit I'm a sucker for that, because when I watch a film, I in general will get lost into the film.
Yeah.
Like I talked about, like I don't sit there wondering about who did it or figuring out something like outside of what's happening in the film right now. I just want to experience it.
Yeah.
And
you want to be in it.
I want to be in it.
I
And
understand.
If it's,
I agree.
If it's scary,
Yeah.
I want to be scared, and if it's sad, I want to because why else would I want to watch the film if not to experience the emotions that they're sort of leaning into? And obviously, some European filmmakers will lean into emotions on a very different way than the Americans, because it's so much more subtle,
Much
right?
more
And
gentle.
Yes, and it's very understated and
understated.
And you could almost say, like, if you watch like a European film, you'd say nothing happened in this film, because we play it down like,
or Japanese avant-garde as well.
yeah, right. But also, what I like about these type of scenes is that I feel that they are great reminders to us, the viewer, that we can actually make a difference in our own life in something as banal as just sort of believing in yourself. And what I find is so strange is that we typically don't. Like on average, if you talk to people, it's like, well, you do what's best for society, and what I feel, that's secondary to sort of like the bigger picture, and obviously I'd want to do this, but if I did that, then I would have to make all these compromises with my family or my career, and then that it doesn't just seem like that's a good idea. And when you talk about your career, it seems very much driven by your passion for doing something that you really like. And like you said, it wasn't a get-rich scheme, because making puppet theater for adults.
No.
So there's something else
Not big business,
at play.
No. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when the airplane crashes into your house, whether you made a gazillion dollars making puppet theater or virtually nothing, doesn't make any difference.
Can't take it with you. No.
Can't take it with you. The Vikings tried.
Yeah, they tried.
And maybe they succeed.
We find it now.
Maybe they succeeded,
No,
they're like...
no, we still find it,
That's true, it's still here.
Lot of different cultures have tried. And actually some made Muppets or puppets to take with them instead of the real thing.
Oh.
Like a symbol. And that in the afterlife it will come. They've made small boats, small people. In China they even made big people and big horses,
And then they sort of put it into the...
It's kind of a puppet,
Yeah, it is.
It's a symbol. And they take it with them, and they think that in the afterlife it will come alive. It will get animated.
And sometimes, very often actually, I call this thing the meat puppet.
Yeah.
And it is, when you talked about it now, it's really felt like, if I don't sort of connect to something meaningful, then I am just sort of like not alive. If you understand what I'm saying, like if I'm just, well, for instance, if I'm watching a film and I'm not emotionally investing into the film, I'm just looking at the screen, and sort of, okay, so there's a man coming into the room and he is upset, and then he picks up a bottle, and I don't really care, and
No.
then my sort of, what I get out of that experience is nothing. And if I put that into real life,
Then it have to have some other strong qualities,
yes,
at least,
maybe some cool special effects or
amazing visuals in some way or something
Yeah.
like that.
or cool music.
But I
maybe
have to
and
say
so on.
that, because I agree with you. If I'm watching a movie, I want to be in the movie. And
Yeah.
I want to experience it without being blasé and sit back and analyzing and say, look at what the set director did there.
Yeah.
You know? And in a way, I really want that when I watch a film, to just get into it. Because I have a problem, because since I've been working with stage art and
Yeah, so you
theater
start
my whole
looking at
life,
sort of these
it's
things,
very hard for me to
the
go
visuals.
to the theater or
Yeah.
to the opera or to a dance performance now and actually live it, because I've been working with it my whole life, so it's really hard to not analyze. It's very difficult. And movies are kind of the last thing, that and music, that I really like, that
Yeah.
it's easier for me to just
Get lost.
get lost. But I see that, but I have to admit that when it gets too obvious, you know, pathos and too much emotions and too much family and hang in there, I drop off. I lose it. That pushes me out of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it gets too much and too obvious and too planned and too schematic, you know.
Yeah, I know
Then,
what you mean.
so
But
I'm
then
kind of picky
this-
when it comes to movies, I have to say.
Like you
Yeah.
said, you know, and the art of animating the inanimate is making it relatable, making it alive. Just like, you know, in a conversation, if you talk to someone and they're not being real with you,
Yep.
you sense it and you're like, but you are not talking with me, you're just talking to me, or you're not listening to me, or and the same thing with a puppet, or even like a film or a picture or whatever. Is like, if it's, you're obviously trying to make something that is not real be experienced as real.
Yeah.
And it is also a learning experience, finding out how to do that. And you might think that, okay, if I do like this, that'll work really well. And then you look at the end product and it's like, that did work horribly wrong. And like, and because because I worked in television and with film for many years, I was analyzing everything I watched. And so I was watching a film, I was like, oh, it's interesting how they did that. And then sort of from like the script perspective, that's really nice.
Oh, that's a long
writing. And like, look at that take, that's really clever. And how they sort of solved that thing. And that didn't work so well. But at the end of the day, I'd watched like hundreds of films and I'd felt nothing. And I was like, if film is to give me an experience, I have to let that shit go, because if not, I am just sitting there being an asshole, like making judgment upon other people's creative processes and learning and their mistakes and trying like to just look at what people have made with sort of like a, oh my God, you tried this, it didn't work, but you tried, and like, there's, like you talked about, like this positivity, or maybe it becomes, if it comes too cynical, you know, like
I agree.
We've not been reviewing the film The Muppets because I don't understand movie reviews or music reviews or reviews whatsoever, because it's just one person's opinion.
Yep.
And if that person had a bad day, it might not be such a good film for that person to watch in that particular day. And we put so much weight on sort of securing our experiences into being good experiences, or nothing that doesn't work must come into my field of view, because I want everything to be perfect and it must work perfectly all the time, which is no human ever, because we're humans and we are flawed and we make mistakes, and we have good experiences and bad experiences.
you know, I have to say, in my experience, or for me, you know, I've been working in the art field for all my life.
Yeah.
And I've been working with contemporary art the last 15, 20 years. And I've been organizing so many exhibitions with world famous artists, and I feel like I've seen it all, you know, same as with the theater, you know, and for me, it's when I go to a big exhibition now, I have to walk a lot around before I really see something that I really
grabs
like.
you. Or
Yeah. And for every time, it's harder to find it. But at the same time, I'm really aware that this is me. This is my experience.
Yeah.
And for the next guy coming back after me, you know, or coming after me,
Totally different
it's
experience.
totally different, and I fully respect that. So I'm really it's really important to me to emphasize that I don't like it doesn't mean that it's not good.
Yeah.
Because that's just me. You know,
that's your subjective
and
opinion.
I'm really humble about that. You know, and I don't want to be a judge. You know, of course, I've been sitting in lots of committees and curating a lot of stuff, and then you're allowed to mean something or to make choices. This we take, this we don't take, and you can do that with all different kind of parameters which you use for choosing, and you try to find objective things to measure from, you know, also. And then but in the end you have to, you can be analytic and you use all your experience, but you have to use your impulse as well. But I find more and more often that I walk away from those tasks or those works because it's hard for me to find something I like in a way, and then suddenly it's not fair. Then I shouldn't do it.
Yeah, because you're
Then
not
someone
you're
else,
not objective.
then someone else who is more enthusiastic and have a more open mind should do it, I think.
Yeah, but you know, it is something about that. You know, you do something for a while, and then you need to sort of move on and do something else.
Yeah.
Because if you're stuck doing just one thing, you'll be really good at it, but you're going to become quite cynical, and you're going to become like a harsh critic, or you're not going to become very nice.
Actually, I just quit my job.
You just quit your job?
Yep. It's enough. I've been running this culture center now for a bit more than 10 years. And it's been a great experience. I've been able to, you know, be a director of that from the beginning, from it started.
Yeah, from the get-go, you build it. So,
first 10 years has been a great journey, you know, and met a lot of people, and we have had more than 700 artists there.
Wow.
These first 10 years. So it's been a fantastic experience. And now a lot of people come up to me and say, why did you quit that? Why?
Yeah, you had a good thing going.
Yeah,
why quit?
Why you want to quit that? And for me, it's like I this last year I was thinking, the fire is gone. It's just
the spark isn't there anymore.
No, and I don't have the energy and the passion enough. And I feel that then I have to, the only decent thing to do is to say that, well, now it's time for someone else to do this.
Right.
So I just pass the, what you call it, the torch. The torch. And say, okay, someone else can try now. You know? And it's better to quit now, instead of going there and getting slower and slower and slower and pulling the whole shit down with me. Not good. So quit while it's good, while everything's working really well. And like we're peaking now. So it's good place to jump off and
Find
I'm going to
new
do something
adventure.
else. Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know, life is adventure, but it's not an adventure if you just do the same thing. Like Indiana Jones or Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's a great film.
Yeah.
But watch it 500 times, you sort of see, it's not as fun anymore with the Nazis and the aeroplanes and the snakes, I guess.
Kind of loses some of the magic after maybe 10, 15 times. Start again.
I think it's the same with these careers that we keep like holding on to for dear life. It's like, well, I built this career, and I feel very much in that situation myself, where I, you know, been working for years as an editor in television and film, and I was good at it. I was great at it, but I was also done. And Lord behold, now I have my assistant, and I teach him editing, and he does the editing.
You got your own talk show,
and I have my talk show now, and this is my adventure now.
Yeah.
And what happens in 10 years? Who cares? Who cares? It's what we're doing right now, and finding something meaningful in that. And if you can't find any meaning in it, then do something.
You know,
right?
We in Norwegian we say "Du er din egen lykkes smed." I'm not sure what's the English.
You're the blacksmith of your own fortune.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
There must be a phrase, but you're sort of
so. If you're not happy with your life, the one to change it is you. I think it's this is back to some of the things we talked about earlier. We are scared.
Yeah.
You know, we think, think about if I quit this job, all the things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't find a new job.
Oh my God, that's
maybe
wrong.
I don't like it. Maybe I don't get the money. Maybe I have to leave the house. Maybe my wife leaves me because we don't have any money, and the children will hate me,
you.
and I will I'm gonna be an alcoholic.
Move in with your mother,
and probably in 3 years I die of a heart attack. Maybe I start with heroin as well. You never know, you know. So it's fear-based. You know, you have the magnificent human imagination.
Then you use it to make a horror film.
You can imagine the worst possible scenarios. You know, and this makes people stay in situations which they really shouldn't be in. You know, they should move on, they should quit, they should start something new, but they are so worried about what's going to happen and that things actually is going to be worse that they don't take the step. They stay in their job even if they hate it.
Yeah, you're
they
in a
hate their
shitty
boss.
place.
They are sick when they go to work in the morning, but they keep going. They keep going, you know, and they don't make the changes. And it's the amazing human imagination that makes them stay there. In a way,
at its worst.
You know,
so you're in hell, but what you're doing is you're imagining a worse hell.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I don't want to go to the.
You know, Goethe.
I stay in hell.
What's it got? Is it 7 levels of hell?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can imagine you being on level 3 or something, but it's getting worse down there. You know.
But wouldn't you like? I'm a curious guy. I'd typically, if I wanted to go to hell, I wanted to get to the bottom of it, right?
Yeah.
You want to.
You want to do it properly.
What's down there? Let's go. Let's. Even though I guess the analogy of going, you know, down into the dark basement always is a bit scary.
Yeah.
But that is the thing with going out into the unknown, which is, in a sense, what quitting your job to do something that you don't know what looks like. Because, you know, for me, for instance, I had a job, I had a salary, and now I have a job, and the salary is a bit more
Bob.
Yes, but at the same time, I'm still here, and I get to do this, and I get to learn, and I get to have these experiences. I get to talk to you, man. This would not happen if I was sitting in some office working at a computer.
Yeah. True. And I think one of the things that's very easy to forget is that if you make a change, you can always make another change. So if you quit one job and start another one, you can quit that one too.
Yes.
You can just keep on moving. And my ideal is what the Renaissance man. I think that we can be anything. We can learn anything. And we don't have to stop. We can keep on learning, keep on evolving, keep on doing new things. You can be a poet, a warrior, a mathematician, an engineer, an actor. You can be everything.
Sky is the limit.
You can always change.
Yeah.
And the Renaissance people, they knew that. They understood that. So the great men, the great minds of the Renaissance, they were lots of things. And then it was accepted. Then, of course, came new periods and the industrial revolution and the specializing and suddenly it was you were supposed to be the same as your father and stay like that the rest of your life. And this was bizarre, the main ideal for many years. But I see now that this is crackling, and that I think it's more open now to actually changing.
But is the Renaissance also the result of a depression or a horrible time period prior to that?
The Black Plague.
The Black Plague.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is the Renaissance.
Can be good.
The Renaissance typically starts with a plague.
Yeah.
And the Renaissance allows people to realize that they can actually do all types of stuff.
Yep.
If they feel like it.
Yep.
Adventure awaits. I really wanted, to go out into the dream and ask another question. Do you think is that even possible? Do you think can we go out into the dream and ask another question? Is that possible?
Well, I'm sorry, fellas, but it's still snowing like crazy here in the dream, and I just have to say it looks beautiful, but it's hard getting people's attention because they just want to go inside, So I guess we'll just leave it at that and go back to the studio.
Well, that's us.
Yeah,
it's still snowing. We're back, and we're back. It's kind of nice having like a reporter out in the field, and we can sit in here in the warmth, and he's out in the snow.
Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
Nice contrast.
Yes, get that contrast going. I feel it sort of feels like we landed there, like in a good spot.
Yeah. Plagues can be good.
Plagues can be good. Now, at the end of an episode of the WakeUp Show, what I typically do is I take my daughter's iPad. It's actually the family's iPad, but for some strange reason it became like, no, this is my iPad, and I haven't.
I like the cover.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. And then I searched the internet far and wide for a quote, which I find like, well, this quote I think works well with tonight's episode. Now we have internet connection in the basement. That's great. Well, if not, we couldn't have streamed the thing, right? Let me see if I can find a quote. Oh, that's not that one. That's a good one. I think I found one.
Yeah.
And what I would like for you to do is I want you to read the quote into this camera over there.
Right.
And then we'll see how the quote feels afterwards.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. It does sort of.
It's a cliche.
It is a cliche.
But, the thing about cliches, usually they're true.
I think it's even more than usually they're true. They're cliches because they are true.
Yeah.
And if they weren't true, they wouldn't be cliches. And also because I think earlier in life, if someone said that's a cliche, we'd be like, well, then we should avoid that. But I think where I'm at now, I'm like, well, maybe there is some truth in it because it is shining a light on something. And I think from what we talked about and sort of like this, like how can you improve on the situation? It's some things you cannot change, but one thing you can for sure change, and that's your partner. No, I'm joking. Because that's the thing you should never do.
That's the hardest thing. Yeah.
That's something you should. If you're just like, I want to change.
People still try though.
So yeah. Or even like even I want to change my kids. What the hell? Let them figure it out. But be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, try to help them a little bit if you can. Yeah.
Yes.
I got 2 boys myself.
Yes, I have, 1 boy, 2 girls, and a boy on the way, so we get, that
you got
balance.
It going, yeah.
I got the train going.
About cliches, I've been working in the contemporary art and the avant-garde my whole life, and we love cliches. We embrace them. We try to fill them with new meaning if possible, and we like the challenge of taking a cliche and making it into art.
Yes. Take the cliche and make it into art. Wow.
It's possible.
It is.
Yes.
Well, I think we landed that motherfucker quite well. It didn't crash into the building. I think we landed nicely
soft
next to the building. No casualties.
No. Softly in the snow.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Likewise.
And
I enjoyed it.
From the bottom of my heart, which is bottomless, by the way. I love you, man.
Likewise.
And to my viewers out there, I love you guys as well. And Mark, thank you, man. I love you. And Ulf, I love you.
And buddy, I love you too.
Oh my God, that's pretty nice. Well, we typically end with a song. I have my guitar here. Oh, sorry. You probably play an instrument.
Yes.
You're probably great at it.
Not really. I still do it.
Well, you should, right? Because that's... How else are you going to learn something? So I'm learning to play the guitar. That's one of the gifts of the play, because I then found the time to play guitar. And I like to play, for people. I also should have tuned the guitar prior to...
Yeah, professionals tend to do that. But
that's
you're
the
still
thing.
an amateur,
I am a professional talk show host.
Yeah, but
amateur guitar player.
Right. I think you got it now.
Got it. I'm going to put this on because then it...
Ooh, that's very advanced.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
The first time I saw someone putting that on, I was like, what the fuck is that thing? And then I was
what
it's just cheats so you can play to your vocal range or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. When I was just a little boy, I asked my mother, what will life be? Will I be happy? Will I be rich? Is what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. When I was young, I fell in love. I asked my sweetheart, what lies ahead? Will we have rainbows day after day? Here's Here's what my girlfriend said. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They asked their father, what will I be? Will we be happy? Will we be rich? I tell them tenderly. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. What will be.